Alright guys, so this will be actually a pretty quick video on how to make it so that when you touch an object, we can display some text. We went over how to actually make it so the character can move before. We went over how to make it so that um, things happen when we touch a collider. But I want to be very explicit with showing you guys how to make make text pop up if we touch an object. So to get this started, we need a couple of different things. The first thing is we need a character that can move around. Um, we need an object that will act as our collider, that when we touch it, something happens. And then we just need some text, which I'll make very shortly. Let's actually start off with just making the very basic components of this, and just making this character able to move left and right. And yeah, let's get started with that. So I'm gonna click on this character. It's an Among Us character. If you guys have ever played it, you know what this is. If you haven't, oh well, it's fine. But it's an Among Us character, and I'm going to make it so that when I touch the A key and the D key on the keyboard, the character moves to left and right. If I want to do that, first thing I need a rigid body component. Next thing I need a box collider. I'm going to set the gravity scale to be 0, so the character doesn't fall for the rigid body. And I will actually, you see the box collider is pretty big right here. I'm going to make it smaller. So I'm going to click the size and just reduce the size a little bit like that. Alright, cool. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this guy right here, the ground, which I'm going to actually rename ground. And I am going to just give this a box collider as well to make sure that nothing falls through. Alright, cool. With that being said, let me go and click on this guy here. I already have a script made. So I'm going to go in and make sure everything's good here. So I'm going to set up the input A. So we're basically saying right here, hey, if we are pressing the A key on the keyboard, we want to get the rigid body component. We're going to get the velocity, and we're going to set it to a new vector 2. Let's make it, if we're doing A, we want it to be -5, 0, like that. Same thing for the other direction, but instead of if, we do else if. Pressing D on the keyboard, we want to move into positive. And if we're not pressing anything on the keyboard, we do not want our character to move at all. Like that. Alright, that was a very quick setup for making the character move. I'm going to save that. Let's run the program and make sure our character can move. Alright, run it. Cool. Character can move left and right pretty easily. Awesome. Alright, so character can move. Next step, we're going to make it so that when you touch this object, we just print out a message to the console. Very first thing. So, to do that, I first want to click on this guy here. I'm going to give him a collider. Again, this collider is really huge. I don't want it to be that big. I'm just going to change the size by changing the size here. And clicking and dragging on the letter. So it changes the size like that. Now I want it to be a trigger object. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this is trigger right here. And then we are good there. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a script here. And I'll call this script display message. Make a new script. Call it display message. And I'm going to go inside of it. Now, if you remember back from a couple when we were doing the Pong game, in order to make it so that whenever something touches another object, something happens, we need to get the function on trigger, enter 2D. All this other stuff is included in here. And then from here, we're just gonna make it say, hey, we're gonna do something. So I'll say, hey, if the game object that I'm touching, sorry, if the collider that I'm touching is a game object, collision I'm touching is a game object, and it has a tag the player. Um, let's just do a debug.log. Yo, like that. Alright, cool. We have an error here. The error is I don't have a double equal sign. Now we're good here. Okay. So breaking this down, we are using the onTrigger enter 2D function, right? And inside of here we have two parameters. We have a collider 2D and a collision. And we're saying, hey, that whenever an object that has a collider 2D touches this current object, we're going to store that object as a variable called collision. From then, we're going to get the object with the collider 2D. We're going to make sure it's a game object. And then from there, we're going to get the tag of that game object. And if that tag is equal to player, we're going to do this code right here. Let's save it. I'm going to go here. I'm going to run the program. And I'm going to have my player go over to this guy, and we'll see if it says something. You will notice that nothing appeared in the console, and I did that intentionally. The reason why nothing appeared in the console is because this code right here, looking for any object that has a tag of player. We did not assign this guy right here to have a tag of player up here. You're just going to click this, click that, and click that. When we do it, this will now display the message, yo, and we can see it down here. Alright, so at the risk of making this video too long, I'm gonna pause this video right here. What we did, if we have a character that can move, and we have it set so that when we touch an object, it does something. The next video, I'm gonna show you how we can incorporate text into it and make a text pop up whenever we touch the object.